What's up guys, Eli here, back for another CD collection video. Haven't done one of these, I think, in a couple of months. They are kind of one of my favorite things to do on this channel. So today we're going to be talking about one of my all-time favorite power metal bands from the U.S., Florida, Tampa, Florida, formed in 1987. We're talking about Kamelot. Now, I don't have all the Kamelot albums. I'm missing, I think, 3. I'm missing the first 2, and then I'm missing a later one. I was missing the third album, Siege Perilous, from 1998, but I acquired that not too long ago, and I have showed it on this channel. Thank you to Simon, Pieface. Love you, dude. But I misplaced it. It's in my room somewhere. I don't know where it is right now, so I'm not going to show that, but I'll talk about it. So Siege Perilous came out in 1998. It was the first album to have basically their classic singer, who was Roy Khan from the band, the Norwegian band Conception. So they grabbed Roy, and to me, that is when Kamelot really came alive. Casey Grillo on drums also joined for this album, and he was in the band for a long time. He's in Queensryche now. So anyways, yeah, this album is really good. In my opinion, the first 2, they're good, they're ambitious, but they're not great, and they're not as good as what they would do, shortly after. They had a different singer named Mark Vanderbilt, but when they got Roy Khan from Conception, they rose up numerous notches. He just brought so goddamn much to the band. Then from 1999, their 4th album, The Fourth Legacy. These earlier albums came out on Noise Records, by the way. They were one of the later era Noise bands. So this album, one of my favorites. I'm not a big song guy when it comes to albums. I'm an album guy, so I never really remember, like, unless it's really like basic simple music. I usually don't remember specific tracks that I like, so I won't really be doing that. I just highly recommend this album if you like symphonic, sort of progressive power metal. You could easily start here. There's a number of places you could start. You could start here and you'd be in good hands. It's just a fantastic album. And some would argue they'd probably outdo themselves in 2001 with their 5th album, Karma. This album, I was a big fan of The Fourth Legacy. I think this album is at least a half a step up. They didn't need to really improve that much. They were already, by the time they put out The Fourth Legacy, they were just fucking awesome. Or even Siege Perilous. Although Siege Perilous, I think they were still finding their footing. But by the time Karma came out, and they were fucking running. They, were making some of the best, just bombastic power metal, in my opinion, around. Then from 2003, their 6th album, Epica. You'll notice I was never a big fan of their cover arts. You'll notice on almost pretty much every single album, it's very garish looking, and I'm not big on it. But so don't let the look of the band or the cover arts turn you away. If you like power metal, you absolutely should check out Kamelot. But specifically, if you like the bombastic, epic, kind of proggy, if you like stuff like that, I'd say over the top, but I don't really consider them over the top. I just think they have a very classy songwriting style. Their guitarist, he's the, what is his name? He's the founding member and pretty much main songwriter. I forgot his name. We'll pull the booklet out and refresh myself. But his songwriting is it's just so classy and so smooth, and it's just perfect. He also has a great guitar tone. What's his goddamn name? Someone help me. Save me. Here he is. Thomas Youngblood. And the funny thing is about Thomas is he focuses more on songwriting. When it comes to his musicianship, you'd think, him being the guitarist and main dude in the band, you'd think he'd just be shredding guitar solos out every 5 seconds, but he doesn't. Kamelot uses guitar solos kind of sparsely. You get like maybe 1 per song usually, maybe sometimes more, sometimes less. He's all about, what's better for the song. He's a great songwriter. but he does have a sweet guitar tone. Like I've always thought his tones were just spot on. And again, I'm not a musician, but I am kind of a tone guy. Then you have the album where I came in on, the Black Halo, the seventh album from 2005. This will always be one of my favorite Kamelot albums, and probably my favorite. This is usually when someone asks me, like, hey, where should I start with Kamelot? I usually go for this one. I say the Black Halo. That is just a great kind of representation of the band as a whole, past, and forward. This is just a kind of a crowning achievement in their discography. And this would be the first time that they wouldn't be on Noise Records. I think Noise was done. I could be wrong. Or weren't they? Didn't Noise... They quit, didn't they? I don't think they're going to this day. They would go join Steamhammer. Is that a German label, I think? German. One of the most popular, kind of German power metal labels. So the Black Halo, to me, this is just... I never get tired of this album. You got great guest appearances by like Simone Simmons, Shagrath from Dimmu Borgir. Just check out, I don't know, let me throw a song to you. I mean, really, yeah, okay, check out in my opinion, the crown jewel of the album itself, the centerpiece, so to speak. Check out Memento Mori. It's almost 9 minutes. It's got everything in it that I love about Kamelot. It's just Kamelot summed up in one song. Go check that song out and let me know what you think. Maybe you'll hate it. I don't know. Maybe you'll love it. And from 2007, I have the 8th album, Ghost Opera. This is the first album to have Oliver Palotai on keyboards. I think he's still with the band. Yeah, pretty sure. I could be wrong. Now this album for me was the first chink in the armor, so to speak. As soon as I heard it, it was a little bit of a different Kamelot. I mean, it still had all the elements that they were known for and all the elements that I loved about them, but it was simplified a little bit. And usually that's not a good sign, right? When a band kind of puts out a condensed version of themselves, that's kind of what it is. It's still bombastic, it's still epic, it's still slightly progressive, it's still, grandiose, but kind of more streamlined. Not a lot, but just a little bit, and enough to notice, It was enough to notice, and it would grow on me. I fucking love this album now. But at the time, I was like, oh no, is this the beginning of Kamelot becoming a band that I no longer love? In a way, yes, but it still won me over, and I still think it's a fantastic album. I would still recommend it to just about anyone into power metal or progressive metal or what have you. Then from 2010, we got Poetry for the Poisoned. 9th album, last album to feature Roy Khan on vocals. First for Sean Tibbetts on bass. Roy was feeling burnt out. He'd been doing music between Conception and Kamelot, 2 bands he'd been doing for many, many years at this point. He was starting to get depressed. He was getting anxiety. He just, he did his time and he had to quit. So unfortunately, he'd leave after this. And so if Ghost Opera was the first chink in the armor, this definitely solidified it. This is the first album that I just to this day have not been able to get into. And again, just like Ghost Opera, it still has all those elements that you want from Kamelot, but there's just, and I think, and most fans feel this way. It's like we don't really know how to really describe what's going on. There's just something missing. And to me, what I think it is I think they're missing that ambition. Maybe they're getting a little tired, maybe they're getting a little wore out. Something's missing, and the fans can definitely notice. So, 10th album, Silverthorn from 2012. Obviously, they had some work to do. They had to find a new singer. And what a huge job they had to, huge shoes to fill. In my opinion, Roy Khan is one of the best vocalists in modern heavy metal. He's just one of the best. He's his technique, his range, his charisma, just his overall style. I just think he's one of the best. So they had to replace him. They got a guy named Tommy Karavik of the kind of famous progressive metal band Seventh Wonder. So they grabbed Tommy. They hit the ground running, man. I mean, Tommy's a true professional. He's a great singer. Honestly, as far as technique and range go, he matches Roy. I've heard some people say that he's better on a technical level. He might be. So I got this Best Buy deluxe kind of box version. If you're looking to pick this album up, it's not really mandatory, but I got it. The price was right. So what it has, it's got a nice digibook for the album, and then it comes with a bonus digibook of, let's see, this is called the Silverthorn Storybook. Let's see if I can even remember what it is exactly. Oh yeah, it's the album. It's totally pointless. It's the album instrumental. The album minus vocals. Who the fuck wants that? Don't get me wrong, I like when bands give us extra stuff, but when it's extra stuff that we don't care about, come on, man. Wait a minute, okay, I'm wrong. This bonus CD right here, which is in just a little sleeve, this is instrumental. Fuck, I don't remember what's on this. Okay, this is called the Storybook. Truth be told, I never popped this in. This is, I don't know. Maybe it might be like the story of the album. Yeah, okay. It is exactly that. There's no music on here. It's a storybook of the album. That's kind of cool. It's fairly long. It's, maybe I'll give it a read. I do like reading. It's got to be at least 40, 50 pages. They're not numbered, but yeah. Anyway, I don't even remember that being in there. And then it comes with a poster that I will never use because as much as I love Kamelot, I mean, come on, man. Who's gonna hang this up? They're never one of the coolest looking bands, in my opinion. So it's a cool little set. Like I said, at the time when it came out, it was cheap, so that's why I bought this version. The box that comes in is nice. Whatever. And from 2015, their 11th album, Haven. Now, this album would, like the last few Kamelot albums, it would take a while for me to get into. I almost wrote it off as like, all right, I'm done with Kamelot. But I did come around to this one. I think, honestly, it took a couple of years and numerous listens. I think, if I remember correctly, I only really recently kind of got into this album. It's pretty good. It's not as good as Silverthorn, but it's pretty good. Now their 12th album I don't have. That one is still okay, but it's probably, their weakest album in quite some time. But I do have their 13th album, The Awakening, came out just this year. I've only listened to it once. It's getting pretty negative reviews. I only listened to it one time, and I did like it, but I'm going to have to give it more listens, see if it'll make my top 10 for the end of the year. I'm not assuming that it will, but I love this band so much. If I can at least come to the conclusion that I like it, that is enough for me. So it was a 5-year gap between this and their last album. So that's the longest gap in between two Kamelot albums ever. So I don't know if they were, maybe feeling burnt out. Maybe they needed the break. Maybe they just don't feel inspired much anymore. And it was also the first album to feature Alex Landenberg on drums. Anyways, guys, I never, at least in my circle of friends, as small as that is, I never really hear anyone talk about Kamelot. I got a couple buddies that like them. So yeah, are you into Kamelot? Are you a power metal fan? If you haven't heard Kamelot, did I entice you to did I interest you in checking them out? If you do, like I said, I think, I'm just going to throw this out there. I think I'd start with the Black Halo, and then from there, I would work my way back and then after that, go forward. I think that would be a good way to start. So let me know. Let's talk about Kamelot if you want. Tell me about your dogs and cats if you don't. Anyways, got all kinds of stuff I'm working on coming out soon, so we'll talk soon, right? Cheers.